All right. Hey, Sunflowers. Let me know. Can you guys, somebody let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me? Oh, okay. I can hear myself, but I still want to make sure that you guys can hear me as well. So as y'all can see, I'm trying something new. Trying something new for the new year. So there it is. But anyway, trying something new for the new year. So hey, Sunflowers. Welcome to the first live of 2024. Woo! So yeah, we're in the new year and we about to get it started like we never left. So as usual, I missed you guys and I'm happy to be back here talking with you guys. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Brenda and this is BPD Squared, the channel where we discuss mental health and learn how to grow together. So speaking of growing, with this being the start of a new year, most of us have, already considered what our resolutions are going to be. It's January, it's beginning of the year, it's beginning of the month. I'm sure we were already thinking about it before Christmas even got here. Now, for those of you who are in the chat, I want y'all to be honest with me, okay? Let me know. How many of y'all have ever said when it came to making your resolutions, what's the point of even making a resolution if I'm just going to break it in a week anyway? So if you're in the chat, I know you've done this before, so leave me a hand emoji in the chat if this is something that's familiar to you. But as I was thinking about that, because I was actually talking with a few friends and we were discussing resolutions and things, and majority of them were like, yeah, I'm gonna make a resolution and watch me break it in like a week. Watch me break it before the month is even over with. And I'm just like, of course, I start wondering, why do we do that to ourselves? Why do we put an expectation on ourselves to fail, like to be failures, So tonight, that is what we're going to go over. We are going to be discussing the top 3 reasons why we can't stick to our resolutions. So as I said earlier, and I hope you guys heard me, but if you didn't, I want you to get your pen and paper ready, or your notes app open. However you like to take notes, get it ready, because we're going to be taking some notes tonight. And I'll let you know when that comes up. So as y'all are getting that prepared, let me just go over a little bit of housekeeping as I usually do. So again, for those of you who are just tuning in or are new to this channel, hey Sunflower, my name is Brenda, and this is BPD Squared, the channel where we discuss mental health from different perspectives. So BPD Squared was created after I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder. I wanted to find a community in which I could learn how to navigate these illnesses, share my experiences, and of course, learn from the others. So when I wasn't able to find a community, I created one of my own. So with that said, I do want to make it clear, however, that I am not a licensed medical professional. So I'm not able to give any therapeutic, counseling, or psychiatric advice. What I can and will do on this channel and on this platform is share what I've learned so far, and hopefully, get to learn some things from you guys as well. Now, if you or a loved one is in a point where you are suffering from a mental health crisis and you do need to seek professional help, I want you guys to refer to this resource page. This, I'm going to have it up for a little bit so you guys can see what's there, as well as this is linked in the description box below. It is on my website, and basically it is a list of various organizations that cater to different needs, as well as a database is on the website to help you find help within your local area. So again, I'll leave this on the screen for a little bit so you guys can jot that down if you need to. And while you take care of that, the last thing I want to, this next to last thing I want to mention to you guys is I want to issue a trigger warning. So this is a mental health channel. And on this channel, we cover, topics that get real, they get deep, they get real deep. So I do my best to call out trigger warnings, before I do get into heavier topics, but I can't speak for every person's trigger point. So as a general warning, I want you guys to watch at your own discretion. So, as usual, I will have timestamps available when the live is over. So just in case you want to know when and when, what topic and when the topic is being discussed, you'll have the place in case there's something you may need to skip over. Regardless, this is a safe space for you guys. And I don't want you guys risking yourselves just to give me a view and a like. It is highly appreciated, but it is not worth your health if it is going to be a detriment to you. So with that in mind, just want that to be clear. And finally, I want to give a huge thank you to all 867 of my sunflowers. Actually, no, I just looked and I gained 2 more. So thank you for 869. So sunflowers, I thank y'all. Y'all already know how much I love you guys and appreciate you guys. I'm so glad you're here to share in this journey with me. So now that we got all of that housekeeping out of the way, let's go ahead and get into what we're actually here to discuss today. Let me get my banners together. So like I said, I'm trying something new, guys. I kind of like it. StreamYard is a different thing. I was using, sorry, lift up my chair. There we go. Now you can see me for real. And camera, figure it out. Oh God. And there's a Pukas. So yeah, he's sleeping down there. And as y'all see, there's MJ in the background. Wait, hold on. There's my fingers. There's MJ in the background. Anyway, so yeah, we're trying something new. I'm trying StreamYard for the first time, and I kind of like it a lot. So we're gonna see how far we could take this and if this works best for our platform. So moving on into point number 1. Give me just 1 second. See, this one I'm trying to figure out how to turn these things off. All right. So, as I'm sure you guys admitted to yourselves earlier, we often go into the new year with plans to fail. This is the number 1 reason why we fail. It's because we tell ourselves we will, period, point blank. I mean, honestly, that's the end of the video, but we're going to keep going. So the problem is, like I said, we already expect ourselves to fail before we even begin. That to me is like buying a new phone and never taking it out of the box, never charging it because you believe it won't work anyway. So really, that's just a waste of time and money. Like, y'all know how expensive phones are these days. Like, this was my Christmas gift. Thank you, honey. That, I just got this Google Pixel. It's like, this is expensive, So anyway, back to the point. So we really have to get to a point in asking ourselves, why do we plan to fail? I want you guys to really think about that. Like, if you have an answer, and regardless if you're watching this live or if you watch it later on, I want you to share with me in the chat or in the comments, why do you think we plan to fail? Why do we expect ourselves to plan up? Why do we expect ourselves to fail when it comes to setting these resolutions, setting these goals? Is this repeated behavior? Did we fail last year or the year before that? So we're just expecting that that's going to be the pattern. Is it because we didn't see the plan all the way through? Did we set the goal too high? Personally, my issue, like what happens with me when I'm setting these goals, is I do set my bars too high. I set the bar too high and I don't have a ladder long enough to reach it. So there's a process that has to be considered when we're setting these goals, which leads me to the next point. We are not considering the process when we're setting these goals. The journey is just as important as the destination, yet we tend to forget that when we're actually making our resolutions. So, queen of analogies here. It's like making a cake and you don't have batter. You're not mixing the batter because to make a cake, you have to have all your ingredients. You got to have your flour, your sugar, your eggs, your milk, your cake pans, the oven, the right temperature, maybe a freezer. You have to have all your things set in place to make sure that what is needed to make the cake can make the cake. If you leave out the sugar, you just got fancy bread, right? Um, so let's just say your goal, your resolution is to lose 50 pounds. How do you plan to go about that? What is the time frame in which you expect to drop this weight? What is your diet plan? What is your exercise routine? Do you plan to exercise or diet at all? Are you going to get a gym membership? Are you going to work out at home? Are you going to do this before work or after work? Are you going to do it in between time? These are all the questions we have to consider. And I'm sorry if if all of those questions gave you anxiety, because felt as I was writing this, I was like, "Ooh, this is a lot." But those are things that we really do have to consider when it comes to setting these goals for ourselves. We have to have a solid plan. That's part of it, basically. So a little bit of a sub point, if you will, is like I mentioned earlier. Yay. So like I mentioned earlier, one of the things is, like I said, I plan too big when it comes to setting goals. And that might be something that a lot of you guys may deal with as well. We set our goals too big. So when we're setting those goals, we get to a point where we do start breaking down the process and we do start considering the factors. But because it's so much that's entailed, we end up getting overwhelmed. And so we have too broad of a spectrum when it comes to setting these goals and to accomplish these goals. It's really hard to put into perspective something when you don't. It's really hard to put something, into perspective when you don't have discipline, which is, we'll get to that point later, but that is something to consider. And hey, Walt, hey, Corey, not Corey, hey, Pal, and to everybody else who's in the chat. I don't know who all is here because I can't tell. But regardless, thank you guys so much for being here. If you're just tuning in or just joining in, we are talking about why our resolutions are fails every time we start a new year. And so we're about to actually get into how to determine your process. But before we do that, I want to make it clear that also when it comes to making resolutions, I think one of the things that also kind of is bogging us down with this is that we're expecting, or we're putting our resolutions and goals on the same level as our dreams and aspirations. So we have to understand resolutions and goals are different from our dreams and aspirations. So imagine it like this, and hopefully you guys are familiar with Pinterest. Pinterest is my weak point at this moment. But imagine that you have a Pinterest board. So, well, let me explain this like this first. Pinterest basically is, you have an overall board that you title something. And within each board is a section. And within each section is where you put your pins or the things that you like or you save. So let's just say your Pinterest board is titled Your Dream, like your name and your dream. So for me, it'd be Brenda's Dream. And then under that board is your different sections or your goals. So for each goal, you have a different name for that. So let's just say your goal is, like I said earlier, lose 50 pounds, get this specific car, make 500K, make six figures, period. Start this business, do this training, da 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 da. So you have your different goals that you're setting with under your main board, and then within each goal, within each section are the different factors that go towards accomplishing said goal. So it's a kind of like a hierarchy level. Your main board is your umbrella, and everything else is labeled under it. So I hope that analogy makes sense. So your goals are basically what fuels your dream. So I think, again, that's why it's hard for people to really stick to their resolutions, because we're placing them on the same level as our dreams. And again, we have to put into perspective, they are not the same thing. They are completely different levels of hierarchy. And I'm going to take a quick sip because my stomach's starting to growl. By the way, shout out to my sister-in-law for one of my cute Christmas gifts. Like, I have to say, this is something that I definitely would not have thought to buy myself, but this does everything for my sensories. Like, because it has the texture on it, so it makes the noise, so it helps audibly. It's got the texture, so it helps with the touching thing, and it just works. It's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know how she knew, but she knew. So I appreciate you, Stacy. Thank you. Anyway, so moving on to the next thing. Like I said before, hope you got your pen and your paper. Hope you got your or your notes app, whatever you want to use to write down these things. So when we're talking about considering the process, when we talk about considering the process, I know that most people are like, okay, well, how do we even know what's in the process? Like, where do we even start with that? How do I even break down a goal, right? So I want you guys to consider these 4 things. And this is where you're going to take your notes. And right now, I just want you to write down the title, like the question that's on the screen. So as you can see the green banner here. So whatever question's on the screen, that's what you're going to write down. And then later on your own time, when you feel like dealing with it, you can come back to it and answer these questions on your own. So the first thing we want to consider is, what do I need to do? What do I have to do to accomplish this particular goal? So when it comes to all the factors, you want to think, again, all the questions. Do I have to change my schedule? Am I going to have to pay money? Do I have to invest money? Do I have to invest more time than I think I have? Do I have to add more things to my life? Do I have to get rid of some things in my life? Is this something that I'm willing to invest energy into? And so when you start putting those things into perspective, it helps you to allocate the energy and time that it takes to reach this goal. So again, what do you need to do? What actually do you need to do? So when you get a chance later on, when you answer this question, I want you to make a list of the steps that you think you need to take, however many you think you need to add. And when it comes to that, then you can start eliminating certain things. See, okay, is this actually necessary to reach this goal? Is this something that I have time for, et cetera, et cetera? The next thing that you need to consider is, how long will it take? What is the time frame in which I have to complete this? How long, and also how long are you going to give yourself to complete these goals? Now, of course, everybody has their own pace. Everybody does things that they're in their own time. So of course you're like, are you a person that can take on something and you just burn straight through it? Or are you a person that needs to pace yourself and take time? So you really have to consider the type of person you are when it comes to accomplishing your goals. What is your personal process and how do you function when it comes to that? Your functionality, basically. And the main goal, basically, is to give yourself a specific time frame that you can realistically stick to. So if you think that you can complete a goal in a week, give yourself a week. If you think it'll take 6 months, set your goal for 6 months. So let's put it into perspective. We're going to keep using the 50 pounds analogy here. So you want to lose 50 pounds. Realistically, you're not going to lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks. You're not going to lose 50 pounds in 14 days. Even if you do that, that is something I definitely don't consider, because that is highly unhealthy and very dangerous. So definitely don't do that. But when it comes to that, you want to give yourself that realistic time frame. If I know I want to lose 50 pounds, I could possibly do this in 3 months. So that's what you have to think about. So the two reasons why you want specific time frames is because you want to make yourself aware of the actual time it takes to make this goal happen. Because I feel like, again, we're setting the goal and not thinking about how much time it actually takes to make these things happen. The second reason is because it gives you a healthy restriction by helping you develop discipline. So, again, if you say, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 3 months, you know that you have 3 months to make this happen. So, the two things that you get out of that are you realize, okay, I can actually do this within these time frames, or I know how now I'm learning my functionality style and how much time I actually have to allocate for myself to get things done in a way that makes me still feel satisfied and accomplished, but also it eliminates your excuse of just taking time indefinitely, which is, we'll talk about that in a bit. So yeah, because you don't want to just be doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff and you never have an end goal or have an ending to it. It's just ongoing. To me, that's not a goal. That's just something you're doing. So the next thing we want to consider, does this fit my current budget and schedule? So my husband and I, we wanted to go on a juice cleanse or a juice fast for a while. And, we thought, we looked at some videos, we talked to some friends, and, we really considered it because we was like, oh, yeah, this seems like a good way to jumpstart our healthy journey and, something that's going to bring those nutrients back in our life, all the positive things you can think about when it comes to that, which is, no big deal. So we were like, okay, well, let's, actually look for the stuff that we need to make this happen, because we were gung-ho, right? We like, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the store, we're gonna get a juice, we're gonna get the fruit, we're gonna do all this stuff. So we go to Bed Bath and Beyond, which was probably my first mistake. We go to Bed Bath and Beyond, and it's not nothing wrong with Bed Bath and Beyond. No BBY or whatever it's called, BBB slander here. It's just, at the time we didn't really know how much a juicer cost. And at that time, we didn't have the budget to just be buying a juicer because. So once we saw those price tags, we were like, yeah, maybe we should just stick to buying the juice. But when you really think about it, that's even more expensive to buy the juice already pre-made. So it's like, okay, well, that we got to, either go with plan B or do something different. So and when it comes to the schedule, we weren't even taking in consideration the time that we have to make the juice, and also the fact of, okay, we have to plan to make juice. Now, you need a significant amount of fruit to make a decent glass of juice, at least a decent enough glass of juice to be a meal supplement. Now think about, you got to do that 3 times a day, 5 days a week, right? So we were like, because it's time you have to go to the store, it's time you have to prep, it's time you have to do this, time you have to do that. It's not impossible, but it was highly improbable for us at the time. So that's the thing. We just weren't taking in consideration the time that we had to actually make this happen. So, it sounds real good to say you're going to run a mile every morning before work if you're not considering traffic, kids, emergencies, getting yourself ready, making food, driving, all these kind of things. So, yeah, that's the thing. You have to think about where you are in your budget and where you are in your schedule, and making sure that accomplishing this goal can fit within this. Because, in the grand scheme of things, we're like, oh, if it's important, then you'll make time. Yes, you'll make time, but you only have so much time to make it with. So you want to give yourself that amount of grace to say, okay, I have to make it make sense in all these aspects. And the final point under this section is, am I going to need an accountability buddy? Am I going to need support? So as we're learning to rely on ourselves with these goals, it might be easier to get started and stick to plans if we have someone on our side. Now, your buddy doesn't always have to be someone who is doing the same thing you're doing. Your accountability buddy doesn't have to be um the like if you're like I say, if you're losing weight, they don't have to also be losing weight. As a matter of fact, they don't have to be doing anything at all. Really, what you want is a person who is, like I said, supporting you, and basically a person you can give your progress report to, somebody you can check into. So you remember when you're kids, we're in elementary school. Hello, Simply Row. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. But yeah, remember when you were a kid in either grade school, elementary school, whatever you call it in your neck of the woods, and how you would get your progress report from school and you bring it home to your parents and show them how good you've been doing, or you hide it in your backpack because you don't want to show them how bad you've been doing. And so basically that person is who you are celebrating your wins with. That's the person you celebrate with. So I'm blessed to have my husband because he's that for me. I don't expect him, because he hardly ever is, to be excited for me. Well, I take that back. Let me take that back. My husband does get excited for me. He does. He's just very even keel about his excitement. But I don't expect him to be as excited as I am for my accomplishments, but it does feel good to say out loud what you have accomplished. So again, first, before I got to get into a deep moment real quick. And I still want to say thank you for coming in, guys. I appreciate seeing you here. But yeah, we're going to have a quick deep moment, y'all. So another reason that I feel that having an accountability buddy is good is it's like having a soundboard. And I don't think we realize how much we actually need to hear ourselves congratulate ourselves. Most of us, if you're like me, are not used to hearing ourselves say, "You did good. Good job. Be proud of yourself." Up until now, I did not take compliments well. I could not stand the fact of somebody giving me a compliment. Good evening, brother. Good evening, Chris. So happy to see you. Happy New Year, love. But yeah, so for those who are just joining in, if we're not clear, let me introduce myself once more before I continue this deep point. Sorry, I know I just stopped in the middle. But before I continue this deep point, just want to let you know, thank you for joining. My name is Brenda, and we are covering 3 reasons why resolutions always fail. Right now, we are covering certain points when it comes to considering the factors that go within planning your resolutions. Of course, you'll be able to see the rest of them on the replay. And when I get through at every point, I will put every title, every question back on the screen. I do encourage you guys to take out your notes, your pen, paper, or your phone to write down all of the questions that will be shown on screen so that you can take time to answer them later on in your, whenever you have time. But yes, going back to my deep moment, and thank you for allowing that. Hey, my love. Hey, Anya. All right. So yeah, going back to the point I was making. And I do want to kind of start over a little bit. We don't realize how much we need to hear ourselves congratulate ourselves. So I, up until this point, was horrible at accepting compliments. They were very hard for me to hear, and I could not stand hearing compliments. And I realized that it's because it's not something I'm used to hearing from myself. In my opinion, or at least in my understanding, to accept a compliment means that you believe the compliment to be true. So, of course, if you're hearing, oh my God, you did such a great job, or you're such a great person, and you're so pretty, and you're so this, and you're so that, to accept that in my eyes means that I also am accepting that to be a reality for me. I'm accepting that to be true. And some of these things that I was hearing, I did not accept as truth at all. So basically, I was uncomfortable, and yeah, I was uncomfortable. It made me feel like I was listening to a foreign language. It kind of sounds like a foreign language, really. When you're hearing something you don't understand, it sounds like a foreign language. So if you've never heard Mandarin before, even though you know the context is polite, like they may be, congratulating you and saying all these great things in their language, you have the connotation that, okay, yeah, this is good, but it's still kind of weird because I have no idea what they're saying to me. I don't understand it. And so that's pretty much where I was. Getting a compliment was something I didn't understand. So I was taught in my household, like growing up, to humble myself down basically to the point that I started to feel that it was wrong to agree with people's praise of me. Like if, basically if they say it's great, I felt like it was wrong. Like if I felt it was prideful and arrogant to say, yeah, you're right. I did do a good job. Yes, you're absolutely right. I am beautiful. I felt that agreeing with that was putting me on this pedestal of being arrogant and just bad. It made me feel like I was being a bad person by accepting and agreeing. So now I'm in the process of learning how to hear that language within myself so that it doesn't seem so foreign anymore when it comes from other people. So, yeah. So, back to the point, you have to figure out for yourself, do you need somebody to help you along this journey? Because, like I said, sometimes one of the hardest things about completing these goals is feeling as if you're not doing enough or you're not doing anything at all. And hearing yourself congratulate yourself, reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, guess what I did? Like Anya can tell you this. I'll be like, hey, I wrote a script today, or I planned a video today. I did some content planning and da 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 da. So it's like when you hear those things and you put those out there, when you hear yourself say it makes a big difference, because I know a lot of us, we hear it in our head. We're saying it in our head. Okay, I did this script. Now what? Okay, because we're passively saying it, right? We're not taking time to sit back and be like, I actually wrote this script. We're thinking, okay, I wrote the script. Now what else? It's like it's acknowledging but not accepting. So it might be beneficial for some of you to have somebody that you can say, hey, I need to ask you about this. I need to talk to somebody else about this, or I need to say this out loud to someone to make it more of a reality to myself. So again, I'm going to place the questions that I mentioned before on screen here, to give you guys time to write it down if you're just coming in. Again, get your notepads, pen, paper, whatever you need out so you can write these down. Of course, the replay will be available so you guys can check it out after the fact. But the first thing we covered is, what do I need to do? Oh, sorry. Actually, let me start here. So the thing is, we're considering the process in which it takes to make resolutions. So going back to the beginning, if you're just tuning in, one of the issues when it comes to making and keeping resolutions is that sometimes we may not set our goal high enough, or we set our goal too high, and we're not considering the process in which we have to follow to make these resolutions a reality for ourselves, or these goals obtainable. So we're considering the process by asking ourselves first, what do I need to do? The second thing we're considering is, how long will it take? The third thing we want to consider, does it fit my current budget and schedule? Is this something that I can afford financially? And is this something I can afford energetically? And the final point, will I need an accountability buddy? Y'all, I had a time learning how to spell that. Anyway, but yes, are you going to need somebody to sound off to? Do you need somebody to give a progress report to? Is that going to be easier for you to accept your accomplishments, having someone to share them with? All right, y'all. So again, hopefully you guys got that down. It will be on the replay. And I'll also, I just thought about it. I will post it also in the pinned comments. So in the comments, it will be pinned along with the chapters. So just be on the lookout for that in case you guys missed the questions and you don't want to scroll through. You would just want to see where they are. So I got you on that. And our last thing that we're going to cover tonight, point number 3, the third reason why we are not accomplishing our resolutions is because, let's be real with ourselves, we either making excuses or we dodging the accountability. We don't hold ourselves accountable. Some of us, I'm gonna be honest, some of us been taking an extended vacation in the land of excuses. I was one of those people. So we spend more time defending why we can't do something versus the time it takes to actually do it. To me, this is a lesson in redirecting the thought patterns around the process. So if you find yourself saying that you don't have the time, then what time do you have, really? Or do you not find this particular goal important enough to make time for it? So like we said earlier, if it doesn't fit within the factors of your process, it is okay to try something else or just eliminate it altogether. Again, we have to make sure that it works, because if it doesn't work, then it won't work. So the point, of course, is just to show up for yourself and openly admit when you are not showing up for yourself. At the end of the day, we're human. We're allowed to make mistakes. We're allowed to fall short. There really is no failure. And I know that the title of this is Resolutions Fail, but there's really no failure here. There's only feedback. Every failure shows you exactly what needs to change in every situation. If you are trying to accomplish a goal and you run out of time, then that lets you know I have to give myself more time. If you are trying to accomplish a goal and you feel like, okay, this is what I need to do to accomplish this goal, but you realize it's not something that you can afford, then you have to cut back on what it is that you want to do or redirect that. Figure out, okay, I couldn't afford it this time. Can I budget for it? Or is there another way that I can do it that actually fits within my finances? So again, there is no failure. There's only feedback. So allow yourself to accept that you can change your situation based on your failures. It's okay to accept your failures because they teach you what you need to know. Open yourself to possibilities. Don't give up on yourself just because things didn't go according to your plan. Again, that just means you have to tweak your plan. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. All right, guys. Now, that concludes, that basically concludes tonight's, I was about to say tonight's podcast, Lord. That concludes tonight's live. So I hope you guys, why won't this go off? Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you. So, that concludes tonight's live, my sunflowers. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Make sure you guys take time to review those questions and answer them over the course of this week until we come back again on next Thursday for our next live. I don't know what our topic is going to be yet, but y'all will find out very soon. But yeah, yeah, we'll and when we come back next week, we will briefly go over them just to kind of, pick up where we left off, basically. So thank you again. Sorry, I'm trying, y'all know me. I'm trying to read and do this thing. It's a lot, my brain. Anyway, thank y'all so much for joining. As you know, I love all of you guys, every single one of you. Again, 869 sunflowers is amazing. And this is what we have so far. So make sure you're passing this video on to someone you care about. Pass this on to anybody that you feel needs to hear this message so that we can continue to grow this garden. I know that we can get 1,000 subscribers by February. I just know we can do it. So let's make that a thing. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a thing. And of course, as you can see, my handles are scrolling along the bottom here. So if you want to follow me on social media, you are more than welcome to. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook, as you guys can see. And definitely make sure you guys join the Facebook group. The link to that is in the description box as well. I'm semi-active on TikTok, mostly active on Instagram. So yeah, if you guys want to reach out and just say, hey, and share some stuff with me, absolutely, please do. Especially within our Facebook group. It is encouraged that our members share some stuff, like share your stories, share some memes, just, engage and interact with each other. Because again, we are open in this platform. 2024 is the year of growth. Okay. And so as we're growing, it makes no sense to grow by yourself. Even in gardens, plants seem to flourish better when they have support, when they have other plants around them. So of course, as we are the sunflower garden, definitely we're going to help each other grow. So if you have something to contribute, something you want to share, something you want to add, 100%, you are more than welcome to do it, as long as it's, falls within the rules and the guidelines and it's respectful of others, of course. So yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. 2024, I know, has some amazing things in store for us. I'm not on that whole new year, new me. It's a new year, but same me with a different perspective. So basically, I'm excited. And I cannot wait to get started on this journey with you guys. I'm overwhelmingly grateful for everything that I've been through in this past year. Just want to throw this out here while I have a little bit of time, because I'm trying to keep these lives within an hour. So I'm doing pretty good. So as we're wrapping up, I just want to say a huge shout out to, again, huge shout out to my family, my friends, those who have been sticking by me and working with me through this process. Huge. Are you done? Are you done? Okay. So y'all know Luke always has to throw in his 25 cents anyway. But I do want to give a very, I know, right, girl? But I do want to give a very huge shout out to my family, my friends, everybody who has been supportive of me throughout the years. My husband, of course, for believing in me and believing in my dream. Luke for being Luke. And also want to give a huge shout out to my MJ fam. I'm not trying to single y'all out, but I really mean it when I say that I'm so grateful that I got to meet you guys in this past few months. I was really looking for those different type of communities, and I've connected with so many amazing people so far, people that I talk to every day, and I love it. And you guys are so, so amazing, and y'all help keep me going. In addition to the sunflowers, of course. But I do want to give a special shout out to my MJ fam, because of y'all, like, I have a reason to wake up every day and feel like, okay, there's something I need to do here, because y'all remind me every day that I have something to do. I have a goal to accomplish. And of course, my sunflowers, because of every single subscriber, because of every single like, because of every single comment, share, whatever you guys are doing to help boost this channel along. Because of you guys, I am here. And because of your love and your support, I am here. So as usual, I thank you guys so much. But that is the end of this live. I will see you guys very, very soon. I do plan on putting out another journal with me video. It's probably, it'll probably be Saturday or Sunday. I wanted to do it tomorrow, but life happened. So it'll be out very soon. But yeah, we'll have another journal with me video as well. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for everything. And as always, stay square. And I love you guys so much. And I'm so glad you're here. Bye.